What is up, y'all? I'm Benjamin Outdoors, and this is my channel. Today, I'm actually back here with the $200 CBR today, and I'm actually going to be installing the motor and getting it running. So, y'all enjoy the video. Now I'm going to take it downstairs. There we go. So, now let's put this motor in the bike. So we got some lacquer thinner. Gonna clean it off. I'm gonna throw some degreaser on it. I'm gonna pressure wash it. I actually don't have the pressure washer right here right now, so I'm just gonna wipe it down. So I'm going to clean off the headers with my wire wheel. The headers look a lot better. Now I'm just going to put the motor in. So honestly, the ideal way to do this motor would be take off both wheels, take off the front suspension. I'm just gonna do what I did on the other CBR, and that was put the jack underneath, put the motor in, and just jack it up. It was pretty challenging, but you know, I'm always up for a challenge. Okay, that wasn't actually that bad that time. It was a lot easier than the time before that. I guess I had a pretty good course of action. Now I'm going to put this spacer over here, tilt the motor back up, put this spacer in. So we got the motor basically in there. Gonna screw this puppy in until those spacers tighten up. And do the same thing on the bottom. Then you can tighten up the spanner nut. Gonna put these nuts on. Headers are on. All right. Just putting a little bit of grease in there so it does not freeze on there, because I'm actually planning on taking this thing off-road and possibly getting in some water, so I don't want that thing to freeze up on that, so, or rust together or anything like that. Gonna loosen up this. Make sure it's a neutral, but you should be able to roll it on like this. And you can pull it back out and tighten it up. This is one of the pieces that I didn't have when I pulled the bike apart. So I actually get to put this thing on. So I just cleaned all these hoses off. But one quick thing before I start putting them on, all these hose clamps, I personally use a nut driver. Like with a small little socket that fits on there and tightens them. Because if not, if you just use a Phillips head, these might not get tight enough. I actually had one leaking on my last bike because I tried to use a Phillips head and not a nut driver. So make sure y'all get a nut driver. Time to install the throttle body. Now you're going to tighten them up. Alright, so I got the wiring harness. Try to get the stuff in the right direction. A great place to start from is this plastic piece. You can kind of get it to sit in here. There's actually a hole in the frame that this actually goes into. Push that back there. This goes to rectifier over there. This sucker actually plugs into the throttle body. Some of these you kind of want to hook up before you put the airbox on, like this one, because it's hard to hook it up when the airbox is on. I'm going to pull this out here. Hook up the rectifier, stator. Got all this hooked up. Spinning system. Plug. This goes into that valve right there. These go into the horn. And this plug right here goes back into this harness right here. That's a cam position sensor. And before I put the airbox on, I'm going to clean out the air filter because I'm not going to buy a new one because I'm going cheapo on this build. And before I installed it, I actually found some damage on the bottom of the seating surface. So I got this box, which I actually still had, and which is very little damage on the bottom of that surface. So it'll bolt to those throttle bodies pretty good. So connect the vent tubes. All right, so the airbox bottom section is on. Make sure your seal's in there. Connect the fuel tube. One injector, two injector, three injector, four injector, air sensor. This little vacuum tube, or whatever it is for that sensor right here, is a pain in the butt. But once you get that in, you can plug it in. And then you can start doing injectors. One injector, two injector, three injector, four injector. Hook up the battery down here. Negative goes onto the ground. Positive goes onto the starter. This plug goes into the temperature sensor on the thermostat right below this hose that you cannot see. And then you got down here, you got this black plug. You plug it in right here. This bolts up into this gray plug. This comes all the way down to this sensor. This last only wire that's connected to it comes and plugs into the neutral switch right there. The electronic stabilization. Just plug it in and put it back on. And that is the whole wiring harness installation. And there's a support back up in here. Put this sucker on. I got this brand new coolant reservoir. One important thing, don't forget to hook up the ground. Verify everything is good, everything is plugged up. Then you can go to hooking hoses up. Hooking up the two electronics. All I gotta do is put a battery in and I'm good. Gonna put the oil back in now. Now I'm just gonna hook up this fuel pump wire. I'm gonna put it underneath the positive so it will clamp down on it. For right now, just to test it. Just to verify, I'm gonna put the key in. Fuel pump does prime, and so I'm gonna take it outside because there is oil in the cylinders, so it will smoke white the first few seconds I cut it on. See if it starts up.
One eternity later.
Now we're gonna put more oil in it because it didn't have enough. But start her up again. Let's see if she runs. Can burn that oil off.
346 minutes later.
It's doing the same stuff it was before the motor rebuild. I'm just gonna let it run for a little while. Just gonna make sure it doesn't overheat. Oh, the fan's on, so that's good. It's not smoking at idle now, which is great. All right, so I'm out here letting it idle. It actually died on me, and so I had to refill the fuel back up. But it's been running for like 20 minutes now. There's a lot less smoke coming out the exhaust now. It doesn't bog down quite as much when you rev it. The temperatures are holding fine. The fan is coming on properly. As far as I know, it's operating perfectly fine. The only problem is it takes a while to start when it's cold. I'm hoping once the rings seat completely, which they should have, hopefully it won't be that hard to start after that. All right, so I got the bike out. It's the next day, and it is ice cold. Radiator 54, the block is 54. It's really cold. Outside is 52, so Let's see how easy this thing starts up. So I let it run for a little while yesterday. It actually got to where it was pretty sensitive with the throttle, but that was when it was at 100% temperature. So I don't know if the piston rings are expanding and getting better as it heats up or not, but let's see. Oh, that was quick. That is a really, really good sign. That is as quick as my other CBR. Maybe it just took a long time for these rings to seat, I guess. So this motor might have been good, honestly. I am super, super excited. I'm gonna run it a little bit longer, gonna ride it around the parking lot a little bit more, and then I am going to start pimping it out for off-road. The next step is gonna be wiring up the headlight and slapping that on, and I'm gonna show y'all me wiring up the tail light. Then, actually, I don't think I have a seat for it, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to get a seat. Then I'm gonna have to make some type of cowl here to cover that up. And then I'm gonna have to try to put the handlebars on if I can, and then also build a cage for it and put some off-road tires on it as well. Pretty sure that smoke is just from it being cold. I don't think that's not oil. This is how well she runs. No smoke. Starts right up. I am pretty stoked how well the motor runs now. It's been running for quite a while now. I've taken it up and down the road a few times. Anyway, next week I'm gonna be doing some fiberglass work to relocate the odometer, which I'm pretty stoked to show y'all because I don't do custom work too much, some light stuff, but this is actually some pretty serious fiberglass relocation. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked to show y'all. And I'm gonna be mounting the handlebars, doing some welding on the upper triple trees, and mounted headlight, all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, till next week, y'all take it easy.